this is what we're going to do. We're going to go through SMART goals. And this is an important thing that I have used a lot professionally. I've used this a whole lot, I'm going to show you at the end of this what it looks like. So I do this professionally. So I work for an organization called Combined Arms. And Combined Arms is a collaborative that gets a bunch of organizations together and work together. It's an ecosystem of resources for military veterans. The one veteran comes in and multiple agencies come to their aid or to help them out or to engage with them, depending on what they want. So what's happened, and the reason I got so into SMART goals is that our system provides a lot of data on the people that are using the system and who they are, what kind of vets are coming to the system, what are they asking for? For instance, what do single parents want the most that are living under the living wage? What do people that thrive and want to go just for volunteering and giving back to the community? What kind of people are they? What are they doing, right? So things like that. Now, in studying this data, we began to, oh, I think somebody's coming in. Stand by one.
I let them in.
Okay. So in studying this data, we found a lot of trends, and we found this data that said, hey, it looks like these demographics of people are emerging. They're high need. What do we do about it? And so we took that data and we brought organizations that was serving that certain verticals, such as mental health or employment. And then we showed them that data and asked them, hey, this is happening in the system with hundreds of vets. What do you want to do about it? And every year in our organization, we have an annual convention where we get together and we problem solve. We come up with year-long SMART goals, and we act upon those over a 12-month period. All right, so I've been doing this for about 5 years. This is my 5th year working in Combined Arms, but I've been in nonprofit for going on 11 years now. And so what I'm going to show you today is something simple, but we're going to choose our own adventure. So as we're doing this together, this is the goal to start with. I want you to take a little bit of time to think about this. All right, so today you're going to select your goal based upon what you can control in your life. So for instance, if you are a manager in your company, maybe make that your goal. If you're currently in school or going through a course that you want to excel in, make that your goal for this exercise. And if it's, maybe you're not interested in those two, then make it a personal goal. Make it something simple that we can work through. I'll give you a little bit of time to choose which one you want, about 10 seconds. And once that's up, I want you to post in the comment what you're going to pursue, and then we're going to work through that step by step, letter by letter from SMART goal. All right, so counting from 10 now. 3, 2, 1. Okay, so at this time, go ahead and put it in the comments, whatever your goal is. And if you don't have the goal yet, just simply put in work goal, school goal, or personal goal. All right, so throw that in the comments. Great, awesome. Okay. All right, excellent. And if you did open a document, slap it in there. Okay, so we're gonna go through the anatomy of a SMART goal, okay? So this is what a SMART goal is. It's one of many ways to get through getting a complex goal out of the way. And this is the utility of a SMART goal. We all know, and you can think right now of something that you have to do soon, or that you've been putting off, that you haven't started, or that maybe you're nervous of approaching because it's so big and hairy that it's hard to think where to start. We've all been there. It always happens. This happens to everybody has this experience. So the SMART goal is the tool that we use to cut through that fog and choose a starting point. Choose a way to digest it, give it shape, and think through the entire process of getting something big and hairy sliced into bite-sized pieces. And so that's what we're going to do today. So the anatomy of the SMART goal are these things. S stands for specific. M stands for measurable. A is for actionable. R is for realistic, making sure that it's something you can achieve. And T is time bound. So how long is this going to take? So with specific, the first thing we're going to do with the goal that you chose, whether it be one of the three of those, is going to do the 5 W's. Okay, so we're going to move next to that. All right. Now, this is our mental toolbox today to get through a complex goal that we want to achieve. And the first tool that we're going to pick up today is the S, and this is being specific about what it is. All right. Now, and at this point, you've chosen whether you're doing something professional, doing something for work, doing something for yourself, or something for school. Okay. So whatever that is, let's go through this, and you can go ahead and write down on your notepad. Now that you have the goal, let's get specific by asking ourselves, what do we want to accomplish for this goal? Why is this goal important? Now, this one is important because there needs to be an emotional tie to why you're doing this. When you want to quit or stop, going back to the why of doing this, the reason that you're doing this is going to keep that motivation going, pushing you, propelling you forward. So who is involved? Is this something just for you? Is this something for you and your family? Is this something for you and your coworkers, a team at work, a group, a cohort that you're involved with? Is it your platoon or whatever? All right, next, where is it located? Is this going to be something that's virtual, something that's physical? So where is this thing located? Are we going to record this online? Is it a document we're all going to work toward? Where is it located? And finally, which resources or limits are involved with this? So at this time, I want to give you all a little bit of time to think about the specific, the what. Now, usually we see this, especially for the military, who, what, when, where, why are the 5 W's, right? The where, the why, the where and the why are going to be, other parts of this component are going to be in other parts of the SMART goal. So do what you can now to do the what do you want to accomplish. All right, and I'll give you a little bit of time. And when I'll give you about 10 seconds to write that down, then we'll move on. So just a little bit of time. And simplicity wins here. The more simple, the better. All right. And at the end of this, we are going to share what our SMART goal is. All right. So now it's been about 10 seconds. If you have something written down, go ahead and throw it into the comments. Just throw in what the specific is. If you have those 5 W's, or if you at least have the what do you want to accomplish, throw that in there. Anything you have. It doesn't have to be perfect. All right. Okay, we're going to move on next. So the next is the M. Now, this is super important. Now that we know what the specific thing is, what are we going to do? So the question is, what shows progress toward my goal? If your goal was to lose weight or to eat better, okay, how are you going to track that? Where is it going to be? What is the metric? So M is for measurable, but also there's a few different words that go behind each one of these. One that I use professionally is metric. What is the metric that tells me and indicates my success? When do I know that I've done this the correct way? For instance, if it's a sales goal, I'll set the number of the metric, or I'll set the number that I want to get to, but the metric is whatever milestone I'm trying to reach, or the particular product that I'm selling, whatever that might be. If it's if the metric is the weight scale, if I'm trying to lose weight, the weight that I want to get to, how long does it take me to lose that weight, the amount of weight that I want to lose, and how many phases am I going to go through? So this is measurable. Where is it going to be tracked? How much of the thing? How many of the things? What is the metric and where is it? Where is this metric going to exist? And how often do I check my metric? Now, this was very important. If it's a long goal that we're talking about or a complex goal, we're going to have to break that down into phases, which we're going to get a little bit into going in a second here. But breaking it down to phases is going to be a very important piece to this and how long those are each going to take. All right. Okay, so now I want y'all to take just a little bit of time, and I know I don't want to go too fast here, but we are going to have some conversation. We're going to talk. We're going to run these through, and we're going to have each of you, if you can, share what you come up with, and then kind of work toward it and whittle it away. So the measurable, all right. So I want you all to take time to answer this question. As I'm talking, please do write down and add to your notes. But what's for the goal, the specific thing that you selected? What is the thing that shows you when you're getting better at it? Is it, if it's music, for instance, like that you can play a song, whatever it might be. So choose the metric. And if you can, when you're ready, post that in the comments if you already know what it is. If not, please do skip. But if you have something for the goal, go ahead and post it in the comments now. All right. I want to read these. Okay, complete one of my, oh, wow. Y'all, I'm looking through these comments. Excellent. Man, build a patio, gardens for vets, complete a book. Peer recovery specialist. Yep, lose 30 pounds, outstanding. 0 balance on the credit card, woo-wee. Being able to entertain outside this summer. Okay, Laura, you're probably gonna have to go work for the government to get that one done. All right, excellent. Hey, thank you all for participating. This is good. This is really good so far. All right, so now we know. Before I move on, also think what steps you're going to take in between. Start thinking now about what steps, because a lot of these are simple. Some are really, really complex. Think about the phases and the ways to get there, okay? So we're gonna go move on now. All right. Now we're at the A, which is actionable, but also another word that goes for the A is assignable. So if this is a work project, who can do the work? Now, in the beginning, the very beginning of this, one of the things I asked you was to choose a goal that you can control. That's important specifically for work goals, because you want to make sure, in this case, do you control your own path? So if you're trying to make a change in your company, but you're not the decision maker, there's someone layers above you, then think again about what you can control. And maybe your goal is to make a plan and then present it to that person that does have control to make the change. But really try, in this case, to focus just on something you can control. From what I read, it looks like most of you are already on target with that. But the first question to ask as far as action was, do I have control? Do I have control to my path to get there, toward the goal? And in most cases, everything that I read, yes, you absolutely do. Now, is this achievable? If it's a team, do I have the right team members to get the thing done? If it's a personal goal, are there any barriers within myself or my obligations to my time, to my family, to my job that will stop me or get in my way or make this more difficult? And how do I address that? Next thing is, what is the indication that the goal has been reached? All right. So as far as actionable goals, this is the part where we put the steps in to get to the end. And typically the easiest way to do this, instead of thinking all the way through the thing, is to start at the end and then work backwards. And so in that case, actionable, I know that I want X thing to happen in my company. X people are going to do it. They're going to take these following steps to get that complete. We're going to start at the end, but what it will take are these steps going backward. Okay, so that's an easier way if you get stuck in the actionable piece. All right, so I want to give you all time to answer the question, or why. This is the question I want you to answer. Why is it actionable to you? What about your position toward the goal, your relationships with the goal, makes this achievable? All right, so go ahead, and I'll give you all 10 seconds to put that in the chat. So go ahead. Only showstopper is me. All right. Outstanding. Okay, good. Yep. Good. Outstanding. Now, the cool thing is that if you look online, SMART Goal worksheet, there's tons of different kinds of these, but you can actually download PDFs or Word documents and then fill these out. They're pre-filled, and you can go in and add all the steps in there. All right. Okay. Now I'm going to show you an example at the end of this, ways that I've used this in the past. But yeah, we'll come back to that in a second. We're going to move on to the next one now. All right, now this one is super cool. I love this one. Is it realistic? All right, is it realistic? The R stands for realistic and also stands for range. So you see these 4 squares here? This is super important. So at this point, let's recap a little bit. We have the specifics. We have the who, what, when, where, why. We know about the metric that we're wanting to track toward our success. We know what actions need to be taken in order to achieve this and who is doing it. All right, and now it's time. To look at whether or not this is realistic. And so the thought tool we use to get through this, the next tool picking up is this one right here. So looking at the goal, ask yourself this: well, what's my target? So the second square first. What is my target? All right, but what is the minimum I have to do? So if this is weight loss, and we do have the next thing is a time frame, then how long would it take me to get there? What do I have to take? How many phases do I need to break this down into? So what is my target, but what is the minimum that success would mean? The next thing is the stretch goal of excellence. If I go above and beyond with the thing that I want to do, what does that look like? Defining that is very important. So now you imagine you have three columns. And the middle column is the first one you fill out, just saying, hey, if I cross the finish line, this is what that looks like. To the left of it, at a minimum, is crossing the finish line. The target is crossing before 50% of the rest of the people behind me in the marathon. Excellent is that I'm in the top 10%. And failure is that I give up or I don't finish the marathon. Okay. The last tile here, failure, is probably the most important one to define, because when you think about, your target and your bare minimum, what does failure look like? What does it look like when you fail? That way, if you have that in your mind, you define it. When it starts to come around, the things that would tempt you to not lose the weight, the things that would perhaps the goal you set, it depends on one person on your team achieving something. Okay, or you know, if this is about school, that you failed the test, you know, that you, whatever it might be. Okay, so defining failures gives you a very clear realm of your focus, and that's where you know to, that's what you know to avoid. All right, and so also think of this as the choke points. Think of this as this is the time to think in advance of what can go wrong. When you start thinking about failure and what can make you fail, it makes the target, the minimum, and the excellence, or the highest standard, much clearer. And so right now, I want to give you more time to do this. So first, I at least want you, if you can, define targets. What does the target look like, and what does the bare minimum look like to get this done? And what is the stretch goal, the excellent thing that what? How can you just absolutely crush this goal? Don't define failure right now. For right now, I just want you to answer minimum, target, and excellence. So I'm gonna give you all a little more time. We'll do 30 seconds on this one. As you go ahead and post it in the chat, and we'll move on. All right. Complete by 12:15, 190, minimum 12:17. All right, keep going, keep going. And if you don't want to do all three, at least put in the target. Yeah, the bare minimum, let's put the target in there. 10 gardens, okay. Excellence 210, nice. June 4th, done by Memorial Day, all right. Ooh, yeah, bestseller. Get some. Nice. Y'all are really thinking through this. I love what I'm seeing in the chat. Okay, all paid off. Ignore my post. Okay.
Yeah, it's I messed it up.
Oh, it's all good. No, you're cool. You're fine. No, we're getting through this. So, hey, y'all. Excellent. So I want to let you know with this piece right here, I actually, I wrote standards for when I was running a whole staff, I wrote standards for 10 people. And so I rewrote the job description by interviewing them and really taking into account of what they're actually doing. So I took the old job description and looked at it and said, hey, are you doing any of these things? Cutting out all the things they weren't doing and adding new tasks in or making it more relevant. After the job description was redefined to do what they actually do in the company and also what the company needed them to do, we then worked on a charts of their major actions they do with 3 columns that look kind of like this. One of them was, here's you doing the bare minimum of your job. Here on the left is when you don't meet that standard of just finishing the finishing line, and the stretch goal. And this is where we spend the most time, is defining what the stretch goal was. So even at work, I've applied this to employees and standards, and kept these up as the points of a quarterly review. But this is an excellent way to think about, you know, what you can do, because quite frankly, we're all constrained by time. Time is a precious commodity, the most precious commodity. The fact that y'all even came to a Zoom call on a Wednesday, like, thank you so much. Because I know we all have Zoom fatigue, so I really appreciate it. But you know, we're all thin on our time. And so when you set these targets, be sure that you take into account just getting across the finish line. Because sometimes, you know, life's going to demand much more of you, and you can't crush it and be excellent, but you can get it done. So this is why this is so important. So thank you,
Brian. Lillian,
yep.
Do you have a question? Your hand is up.
I do. With respect to failure, you know, over the last 3 years in our company, we have been, I would say, re-socialized to quote unquote fail fast and learn. And so failure is not even a word that we use anymore, because it's you know, a negative. And what we're seeking to do is to always look for the positive and continue to move in that direction. What are your thoughts on the word failure? Is there such a thing?
You know, yeah. So my relationship with pain and failing and all that stuff is a positive one. So like, to answer your question, a long time ago, and it was like in the Marine Corps, you know, I learned to embrace pain. I learned to embrace suffering. And even, you know, as a teenager, I was taught this concept of brokenness, and like, that when you become fully humbled and life kicks you, beats you up and throws you down, it's at that point that you meet yourself. And it's that point that you grow from there. So we can call failure, we can reword it growth opportunity or course correction, you know. So I do agree, failure could be, there's a better word to describe it, but also it's the way we're framing this and our attitude toward it. So I would change that to a growth opportunity, because I think it's so important. People get scared of failing. People get scared of, you know, am I going to say something wrong? You just got to do it. You just got to run right into it, punch it in the face, headbutt it, and eat it alive. You know, that's the only way to do. It's the only way to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's an excellent question. Hopefully, I answered your question. But thank you for that.
Yeah. Thanks.
Anybody else have any contributions to that? All right. Yeah, that's a great question. Okay, folks. Now this is the last letter. It's T. So this is time bound. Now, this one is all about reality checking. So now that we know what we're doing, we know the steps we're going to take there. Now it's time to put timelines on this. I use Monday.com. There's lots of tools out there, but for project management, I use Monday.com. And so when I'm putting a goal together or a task, I'm also always going to add a timeline, either a due date or a timeline for it to be done. So I'm talking with multiple cities around the country. And so as we're talking to these other cities, they're telling us what they need, and we're putting that into Gantt charts and things like that. And so this is super important, is to think out this thing that I'm trying to do. How many pieces does it need to break down into? So first, how long will it take? How many and how long are each of the phases? What will take the longest? And what are my mile markers? So mile markers are super important because, you know, especially if it's a big, hairy one, how do I know when I'm doing well? Especially if it's a number I'm trying to get to, what is half of that? And what are a quarter piece of that number I'm trying to achieve, right? So breaking it down to mile markers and celebrating when you made it there. And so when you cut something in half, for instance, the number that you're trying to go to, or cut it into quarters, that's the time when you stop, reassess, take a look at the way you've organized things and make sure you don't need to make any edits to move forward. If it's a thing that takes multiple steps, break that down into phases. And see how many phases it's going to take for you to get there. By defining that and giving those timelines, you have a really good understanding of the effort it's going to take, the people it's going to take, the steps it's going to take, and what is needed, what resources are needed to complete T. So T is all about calling things for how long they'll take. Now, this one is going to be a little more challenging to post. You know, if you have something, please do. I don't expect that you can get to T that quickly, because this is really probably the most time intensive thing to do. But if you can, how long, you can either answer any one of these. What will take the longest? What are your mile markers? How long will it take? Especially I think mile markers is a good question to answer. So in doing what you're doing, let's just stick to that one for now. All right, if you have all of them, please do. But for right now in the chat, just put down what your mile markers are. So how do you know, either if it's halfway or quarters or whatever, what is a mile marker letting you know you're going in the right direction? And we'll do 30 seconds on this one. Boom. All right. Nice. Balance it. All right. Man, Derek, I really like the one you put in there. That's excellent. If y'all, yeah, excellent. You know, this, like, Derek, what you put in there, that's how I approached studying for college. I was working the whole time, and the only way I could survive was to like look at the study load and really try to understand it for time. And I also had a baby. My senior year of college, I had a newborn baby. Oh God, oh, so rough. I love it. Oh, good.
Yeah. So okay, so you're a Marine, glutton for punishment. I got
Yep.
it. Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. I mean, I did it backwards. I was 19 when I had, well, my wife had the baby, and our daughter's gonna be 20 this upcoming.
All right, awesome, man.
So it was cool because she was a freshman in college while I was a senior in college. So that was some interesting conversations.
Oh man. Wow.
And we have she and I both had the same major. So, you know, Saturday morning phone calls of pop quizzes was were not fun.
That is so cool.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was really cool.
I love that. All right, y'all. Hey, y'all have done a great job. Okay, so look, just like that, it took maybe half an hour to get through this. And we have gone through all letters of a SMART goal. And so we've effectively done one. Now you can obviously go back and put a whole ton of meat on this bone. I do want to show you, let's see here. Yeah, so this, as far as time goes, this is a good one to use. Just name, goal, and finish by. What is the name of the person that's in charge of this, the goal, and when do you want it done by? So like I would do these with a group of leaders from organizations. And because they're not on my team specifically to come to the table, it was a little more difficult to get individual people to commit to goals. But in other cases, internally, we've used this and assigned staff employees to get it done. And it's worked very well. So when you know who owns the goal, and you give them a very clear deadline, that's the best way to move the ball along. If it's teams, I'm a big fan of very short, brief daily meetings to talk about where a goal is. So I'm a big fan of that when it comes to working and pushing things through. People that know me know I like short meetings, but I talk a lot. Yeah. All right. So that's all right. So this is an example. They have a whole bunch more of these, but this is actually one goal taken out of a big, huge master plan for a whole year. And it had, I think, about 21 goals in it, SMART goals in it. And this little background on this. So this is from one of the collaboration committees that we established. This one was specifically for the Professional Growth Committee, which is a group of job placement agencies, veteran job placement agencies. And so I did an analysis of where these job placement agencies were placing the starting pay for their vets. And so I found, and I also asked them, hey, are you asking household size for the vets that you're placing? And so the answer was no. There wasn't a single job placement agency asking household size. The reason that's important is because if I'm a job placement agency and I place a veteran at $14 an hour, or let's say I place them in a $35,000 salary, but they're a single parent and they have 4 children, then I have just placed that person in poverty, right? And even though I count that as a metric, that I just did something that's not productive for that individual, right? And so we asked those questions, and we also wanted to know, we use the data that we have to think and how to serve people better. So one of the goals was 65% retention. Number one was actually 3,500 hires through all the organizations together. And that one was a really clean SMART goal. I'll probably pull it up in a second. But this was goal number 2. And you see here that the S was filled out just like I gave y'all earlier. So even the names or the questions for the survey were put in here. That was all defined. When exactly by this day. And we're going to meet at the six-month marker to make sure that we're doing things the right way. All right, so we had the milestones placed right here. So this is really clean, concise, short, and this is brief. What's beautiful about it is that it's brief. And so all the details were in all kinds of documents and meetings and conversation points, running agendas, but it's right here in one little bitty consumable bit. So this is a good way to look. Now, I remember when we did this and we thought, okay, what is a reasonable thing to expect? Well, let's do 50% retention. And then we decided, no, let's really challenge ourselves and look at our systems and how we do things and try to hit 65. And so 65 was the goal we agreed upon because we wanted to go above and beyond what we thought we could do. And sure enough, we were able to meet that with the data we got back. All right. Okay, so I do want to show you, let me jump out of this really quick. I'm gonna stop sharing for 1 second. And I want to show you all just a document that has all this stuff in it, a bunch of SMART goals.
Bryan, while you're looking for that document, will we be able to share your presentation?
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Yes, that's not a problem at all. I'd love to give it to y'all. Okay. Okay, let me share my screen now. And the next step is going to be, I want y'all to tell me more about your goals. Okay, so this was the roadmap for all of our collaboration committees. I put this together. And here at the top, each committee, we got their entire year's calendar of when they're going to meet. And they would have an actual meeting, a quarterly meeting, and then a check-in. And so each committee had one. It had its motto. And so they co-wrote this. They wrote this stuff. And this is their ideas. So they had their main motto on what they were going to do. They had their their agenda all set out for the year. They had a synopsis of what the committee was going to do, their focus for 2019. And then they had all their goals. And so we numbered the goals all the way through to 21. These are additional stuff. I know I'm kind of rushing through this, but this is just to show you what happens when you get people together and use this method, right? Get people to co-author the SMART goals. And so we had a bunch, and this was a citywide plan with all these different organizations. I love this one right here, 3,500 hires, you know, and these are the times that we're going to do an assessment midway and see where we're at. So I actually still have these surveys when we asked the organizations to report, and there was a lot more complexity in those surveys in the data we got back from it. So yeah, all right, that's a second. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and stop sharing now, and I want to move over to y'all. And so I want to now open to you all, and I want to just, if we need volunteers, otherwise I'm calling you. Believe me, I'm going to do it. But I want to hear you just kind of give a brief on your SMART goal. I know we did this really quick. It doesn't have to be perfect, but I want to hear from you what your SMART goals are and kind of walk us through it. So do we have maybe like a minute, max of 2 minutes per person? Who's the first victim?
I'll go first.
All right.
All right. So, specific, complete the project management course through IVMF by Syracuse. So there are a number of modules that have to complete in order to get the project management course done. So doing this exercise, I have homework to do because I have to get all this data. But to complete the modules, that's the metric, right? The modules completed. I definitely am in total control. So it's actionable on me to sit down and actually go through the courses. All the modules must be complete by February 17th. So that's a target. It's to be done by, and so what I ended up doing was making my target 2 days before to give some flex for, technical difficulties or whatever. So my target is the 15th of February. The minimum is the 17th of February. And then for excellence, be done by the 10th of February. The opportunity for growth is if I don't complete this program, then it's an opportunity for me to look at, what did I let get in the way of completing this course? Was it my calendar? Was it my family obligations? Whatever. But there's definitely something missing if I don't complete this course in time. And so give me that. And then, so how long will this take? And again, by going through and actually looking at the number of modules and how long each module will take, I could then backwards plan and figure out how much time I have to dedicate each day to shoot for my excellence, giving myself opportunity to flex if necessary.
All right, man. Outstanding. Y'all give him one. Hey, that's kick ass, y'all. This was like super quick. It was very effective, though. It was very effective. Great job.
Hey guys, thanks to the teacher.
Somebody else. I know. I saw. Go ahead. Who's next? Okay. Is that David?
I'll go next. Or David go?
Yeah, go ahead, Kenrick.
Oh, okay. Yeah, mine is similar to Derek's. So my goal is actually to earn my personal training certification. So the metrics are going to be based on completing the coursework and actually passing the exam. So this is where those phases, will come into play. Actionable. So I have the information that I need. I've got the money and I have the time. So I'm in control. Realistic. So target, by the end of June. Excellence would be in the next 90 days. Minimum by the end of the year, so December the 31st, and failure would be not enrolling or doing it at all. Let's see, time, completing the coursework will take the longest. So, being halfway done with the coursework by April 30th would probably be my first milestone. And then I'd go from there.
Excellent. Good. Yeah. Okay. David, I think you were next.
Sure. I thought about this weekend when I was sitting around bored. I looked into some ideas about how to produce gardens for folks in the community. And, there's a lot of community gardens out there. There's a lot of programs that say, hey, come garden at my house. But I thought about providing miniature or small gardens to veterans in their homes. So the goal is to expand on the Victory Garden program I'm working here and I'm calling it, I'm going to call it Victory Gardens for vets. Pretty simple. The goal is to build gardens scalable to the size of the yard or space the individual has in their backyard. And whether it be on the ground or elevated so they can walk if they're a disabled veteran or elderly veteran, or a caretaker or veteran that needs to stand up, and it'd be something like a tabletop garden or a larger whatever. Measurable would be to, I figured they're about $150 to $250 a garden, with the tools and the dirt and the supplies, and providing them with plants that I can get donated to me. And come back, build the gardens now during the time period when it's winter, and come back in March, April, and give them the plants to put into their gardens and teach them a little bit about it when they leave. The measurable would also be, I think I could do 10 for the year. And I guess it would be 5 would be like a minimum, and anything more than 10 would be cool if I can get sponsors or whatever. I control the path of this because I'd be the one doing all the work, and I'm also self-funding it. So I'm just going to use funds out of my own pocket to fund each garden that I thing. I guess the hardest part of this is going to find veterans to give it to. So I have to develop some sort of a what do you call it, application to find veterans that are able to not only just maintain it, but if I put it out there and I said, hey, let me come build you a garden, I'm going to have 1,000 hands raised up, but they may be eligible to do it themselves or capable or financially capable. So what I want to find is somebody who is not necessarily financially capable to do it and may need some help or don't know anything about gardening that wants to learn but doesn't, and then the ultimate goal is to get fresh vegetables and fruits and stuff to these veterans and allow veterans to learn and feel connected to the earth to help them mentally and heal.
I love it. Man, I absolutely love that. Like that, you have a heart of gold, man. Thank you so much for doing that. Thank you in advance for the blessings you're going to give to people, man. That's wonderful. Good stuff. All right, now, do we have another volunteer, or shall we start calling on folks?
I'll go.
All right, go ahead, Paul. Drop that sick beat.
My personal goal, due to my injury, I have a leg injury that I suffered in the military, which causes me not to be able to run. And I haven't been able to ride a bike in quite a while because of the leg injury. So I ballooned up. But my weight now is 275 pounds, and I'd like to get back down to 190, 185 pounds. My body type will not allow me to use different formulas and stuff like that. It actually has to be all natural workout. I can't use supplements and stuff like that to lose weight, because when I do use that, it does work, but then I balloon back faster. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So my goal is to actually lose all the weight that I can down to 190, 185 pounds. That's the specifics. The measurable is it can be done. It's just going to take time, and I didn't actually put a time frame on it. And by actions, I'm going to be doing that 5 days a week, resting 2 days a week. And for my target again is my weight. I wanted to get down to 195. My only failure is not being able to lose the weight. But you're always going to lose weight if you can continue to do some type of workout. So I don't think I will fail as far as losing weight. And my time bound, like I said, is 5 days a week. My mile marker, I'm going to look at my birthday, which is May 12th, and see where I stand as far as that.
Excellent. Good. That's a great goal. Yeah, excellent. That's great. And one thing I did mention is that if you have a special date that it really is effective to work toward that, like your birthday, for instance, that's excellent. Good job. Okay, I want to hear. We've only heard from the male participants today. So, we have any females that want to roger up and tell us what's going on? Yeah, get some, Lillian.
All right. So mine, it's kind of complex, but what I'm focusing on right now, and I've already engaged a coach to work with me, have a pretty complex career trajectory and all of that stuff. And what I'm trying to do is to streamline and pivot. And some of the objectives that I have is to convert from where I am now in straight telecom to artificial intelligence and machine learning in a more substantive way, in a broader way. I'm working on a couple of projects. One of those is with the National Artificial Intelligence Institute, which is part of the VA. And the objective there of this tech sprint is to find a way to use artificial intelligence to reach veterans who are not part of the VA at present. I'm working with the mental health cohort, and there we're focusing on veteran suicides. And we know that 70% of veterans who commit suicide are not covered by VA, are currently not in the VA system, which is why, you know, we're going after veterans who are not covered under VA to bring more of them into the fold. So that's a significant program that I'm working on right now, in addition to also pivoting my entire career to artificial intelligence and machine learning. So I'm trying to line up, you know, my passion projects with my work projects, with my life contributions, hence working with a coach. And I'll be working with my coach through the end of June. And we started working together here at the top of the year. And so midpoint is the end of first quarter. And we're, you know, doing sort of the pre-work and all of that. But my objective is to get crystal clear on how to make sure that everything that I'm doing aligns around things that I'm absolutely passionate about, but for maximum contribution, not just for me, but just like, what can I do with everything that I am to contribute in the best possible way to those of us in the veteran community. There's another step too that I'm thinking about as part of my program. We know that between 20 and 22 veterans per day commit suicide. One question that popped up in my head, we also know that up to 123 humans here in North America commit suicide per day. And if we can fix the veteran problem, then we can extend whatever solutions that we come up with using artificial intelligence to the broader human family. So those are some of the things that I'm working with, just trying to get aligned so that I can truly like run at top speed. So that's what's going on with me. But as far as the duration and, you know, how I'm working on, you know, sort of getting more specific and putting down more of the details, but also the mile markers. I know as far as my coaching, by the time I get done with coaching, I'll know exactly what I'm doing. So that's what I'm working on now. Great.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that. And I wish the best luck. And thank you for putting your focus and energy in that direction. That's wonderful. Man, y'all are all freaking awesome. I just say that, like, everybody's so cool. I love it. I expect nothing less of the mission continues. All right. We want to share the floor. Let's see. Having heard from Nikki, Gloria, Thaddeus, Sebastian, Candace, Yesenia. Candace? Okay, hit it, Candace.
All right, so I have a SMART goal of obtaining my peer recovery specialist certification. Well, that's the specific goal. Measurable would be there's a 72-hour training course that you have to take as part of the prerequisite to qualify for the exam. You have to also complete 500 volunteer hours, and the VA, if you're going to apply for a position at the VA, they would prefer 1,000. And then, of course, you have to pass the certification exam. Actionable is, of course, sit for the training, the 72-hour training, complete the hours, and pass the exam. So I reverse engineered it. I've actually already set for the 72-hour training course. I have to go and collect all of the documented volunteer hours I have already. I'm going to count TMC as some volunteer hours, of course. And then once I collect all of those, then I'll know how many more I have. to set the time frame off of that. And then schedule the exam, study for the exam, and sit and pass the exam. Realistically, I have my target to have the exam scheduled, studied for, and sit for by June, end of June. The minimum would be by October, and I'm going to try to challenge myself and be excellent. And I would like to see, I believe I have quite a few volunteer hours already. So if it's the hours I believe I already have, I should be able to sit for the exam by the end of March. Failure would be, or growth opportunity would be, if I don't study, if I don't schedule it, and if I don't sit for it. And time bound, it would be once I figure out how many documented volunteer hours I already have, then I will be able to schedule out how many volunteer hours I have to get, and I'm available to do that 5 days a week. And it depends on how many I already have, then I'll be able to plot out how long it would take from there.
Candace, that is well put together. I love that. Great job. Great job. And yeah, you're gonna get it. That's for sure. Yeah, that's so awesome that it's such a short amount of time you just like threw that together. That's great. Hey y'all, I need to. I'm sorry. I need to acknowledge something really quick. If you didn't read in the chat, Jose Cruz, his aunt just passed away during this call. He got the notification. So he had to drop off, but I just wanted, I don't know who his aunt is, but we just heard about that as a group. And I think it's respectful to take a moment of silence, just 10 seconds to just honor his aunt and his suffering. So we'll just take 10 seconds right now. Thank you so much. I appreciate it, everybody. Thank y'all. That's not easy, man. I don't know what's going on, but y'all keep him in your prayers and his family. Okay, Talisa, I know I do want to hear, so we do have some folks remaining, and I do want to give the priority to not to staff, so to everybody else participating. So whoever, Sebastian, are you ready to go? Or Thaddeus? I can't remember if Yesenia is staff or not. Are you there, Sebastian?
I can go.
Hit it.
All right. So my specific goal was defining my next role within my company. Over the past year, was able to do some significant things that made a big impact with the company and continue to build that rapport. So when having a one-on-one with my manager, the question was, what do you want to do? And essentially it's like, with the favor that I'm in with my company, I can essentially create my next role. So it's kind of broad and ambiguous, but, over time, just asking the right questions. What's making it measurable is essentially I have a couple of options that's presented up front. So I have to put together a presentation and actually, define the specific needs that I'm going to cover and the return on investment, whichever role I choose to pursue. From the actionable standpoint, it's one of those rare occasions where I actually have the full control, no set deadline or anything like that. So they're being very flexible with that. So for me, it's just a matter of setting a date, making sure that it's all realistic and everything. And in that process, continue to build the partnerships with cross-functionally with the different teams and everything like that. Realistically, I want to have this all figured out by the end of February. So I just started these conversations last week. So I want to take a month to really just meet up with mentors and leaders and sort of pick their brain a little bit in terms of putting this all together. I think if I think about it from a failure standpoint, it would just be nothing gets achieved at all, and I maintain my employment in the current role that I'm in. But I don't see that happening. So I'm gonna take full advantage of, this opportunity. Time-wise, I think this will be something that will happen within the year. So I think the sooner that I get all my ducks in a row, the sooner we'll be able to execute on the plan.
Excellent. Good stuff. All right, that is. Hey, well, by the way, I know there's all kinds of mentorship in the Mission Continues. And I don't know who all, I'm sure if he's talked to the folks in the Mission Continues, they probably point you in the right direction for coaches and things like that. There is also an organization that I personally used recently. They're called a Stand Beside Them. And like the CEO calls you if you apply, but it's for vets. And they line you up. They're really good at matching you with the mentor. And so I was coach or mentor. And like, man, it was such an amazing experience. I do recommend, checking that out as well. It's always good to, diversify. Like I'm a person, I'm like in every organization. I'm like all over the place. Okay, Thaddeus, thank you so much for sharing that. So Sebastian, are you there? Are you ready to go?
Yeah. Okay,
all right, man. Hit it.
All right, I don't have all the meat, but I got a bone. Thank you for that. Let's see. So who, me, and what? I'm thinking like carpentry or woodworking, just to give me something to do aside from work. Because the last thing I want to do is just go to work and die old. And so I want to build like houses or tiny homes or be able to do furniture. I'm very open. I'm not super direct on a lot of things. So a lot of this format doesn't work for me yet. I have to sit down and spend more time with it. Really knee jerk when it came to like comment section. I really wanted to just start throwing things in there, but that doesn't really help me. So, I'm glad that I have the opportunity where I can listen to everyone and you can show the like the interpersonal workings with corporations and how they use this system effectively. So let's see, timelines for me is like certifications or just being able to develop like my craft with woodworking, and then just like physically being able to see the improvement to being like, okay, yeah, a 3-year-old can make that, or okay, maybe I can actually sell this now. And that's about it for now.
Hey, so Sebastian doesn't have his camera on, but y'all know him from all the flyers and brochures and the website. So he's one of the poster boys for the Mission Continues, and he's a handsome fella.
I gained weight and I shaved my head since then.
Oh man. Hey, well, you don't have to come up with a goal for that because 2 of these dudes already did. So, but hey man, thank you for sharing. I appreciate it. And I would love to see you get into that stuff. It's great to work with your hands, man. But Sebastian, I know Sebastian. I've known him for a long time. He's a good friend of mine and the guy I love very much. Hey, thank you for being here tonight, buddy. Okay, I think Candace already went. Yesenia, I think Yesenia or Elizabeth would be next. Yesenia, are you there?
I am here. Can you see me?
No, I can't see you.
Really? I have that video on, but well, maybe you can hear me. Can you see this?
Are you doing like this?
Huh?
I can see that. Yeah, I see a room with a fan.
Yeah, so I don't know why. Well, anyway, I will talk anyways. I don't know what's going on because I'm in Galveston right now.
Okay.
So I'm like the last person that spoke. I don't have like the whole plan, but I can tell you what I have written so far.
All right.
So I decided to work on financial goals this year. I've been working on that actually since last year. And I've been tackling credit card debt left and right and paying like 5 or 6 times more than the minimum. And I've been able to bring like 7 cards to zero, balances to zero already. So I only have 3 more left. And the goal, I don't know, like the ideal goal is to pay everything by June. And if I stay on track and nothing happens, like unexpected expenses and stuff, I'll be good by June. So then I can start looking for a house and thinking about other things ahead and stuff. But and if something happens that I face failure, I just know that I have to like deal with the money that I have and put myself on track again, because I have done it already the whole last year. I was able to stay focused and not spend money on nothing, basically, just food and roof to survive. But if I have an emergency that I have to use that money that I'm using right now to pay, I know that I'm going to be able to go back on track like immediately after I recover from that. So
wow,
that's what I have.
that's man impressive, man. Like a good job. That is a wonderful thing. And at the same time, counterpoint, it sure would have been fun to party with you when you had all those other credit cards, though.
I know, but it's something that and I'm still kind of a little bit ashamed of letting myself get there. So I worked on them quietly and without asking for external help, just like reading some books and stuff. So, because that's pretty something that it's very shameful in my opinion. So.
No, but that you really like tore it up, man. That's an awesome example of discipline. So good, yeah, you're going to get there. Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that, Yesenia.
Thank you.
I know we have just 5 minutes left, y'all. So do we have time for? I think Elizabeth is the last one.
I have a short and concise. I think. I came in late. I came in when you started the tea. Helping a friend that's not doing so good. But mine and Jose's, actually, the one that just left, we have fixing roofs of people that lost them while Hurricane Maria.
Oh, wow.
We have joined in a collaboration with Techos Pa Mi Gente, Roofs for Our People. And we have set up to do at least 12 of these roofs. And it takes probably 3 weekends to get one house ready to go, right? So it all depends. Ideally, it's 12, but if we get to do 8 between both of us, 4 and 4, because we already have the month of January done, and we already have compromises already in the month of February. 8 is good for 4 and 4 between both of us. The timeline is the 12 months because that's 10 months. That's what we have left. That's 10. And it's pretty much to be able to give back hope to these families. One of the families we were gonna help, I guess didn't receive the help quick enough, and he committed suicide 2 weeks ago. So it's a very delicate thing that's happening here since Hurricane Maria in 2017, and then the earthquakes, and then all this COVID stuff, and mental health is being off the roofs, and people are needing lots of help. So we're gonna see how we could help one family that we have, mama, papa, a daughter, and a son. How we could get certain things for the kids so they could feel like they're welcome again, in their area. And let's try to. I think we're gonna go March 7th, the first Saturday, I think, to go to that one property. So that's, I came in late, but hearing the other ones, I kind of like put stuff together. I hope that's okay.
No, absolutely. That's fine. And we're going to send this out. I'm going to make sure that I can share this with you all. But hats off to you. That is freaking amazing. Y'all's goals are just kick ass. And I love this. I love the company. The fact that we just slapped in here together and y'all are all badass. I love y'all. So thank y'all for joining, and I really appreciate it. Y'all, if you didn't yet sign in, you should have got it on your phone. But do make sure that you checked into the event, and I'll hand it back to Talisa for any last announcements. But thank you so much for letting me talk and teach and participating. Your participation means the world to me. Y'all blew me away, man. This is great. Y'all are all studs. I love it. All right, back to you, Talisa.
Motivate me every day, Bryan. You motivate me. Thank you all so much for joining our session tonight. I am filled with so much joy, and honestly, I feel a little like I'm overcome with a lot of emotions right now. I don't know what's going on. It's between everyone sharing all of their goals and us taking a moment to even connect on behalf of Jose, the passing of his aunt, to just, speaking your goals is vulnerable. So to know what everyone is wanting to reach. And then some of your personal goals has to do with helping other people. That is just so in a world full of so much that's going on that could be not so good, to be here with you all tonight and to just see the giving and the hope and everyone, and how much happiness it brings you to see the happiness and to help others, just fills me with so much joy and just gives me faith and hope for I mean, we are a better future, right? And so I love that. So yeah, check our Facebook page and communications for upcoming events, y'all. If you're interested in leading a workshop like this in the near future that is open to anyone, just shoot me an email, tkill@missioncontinues.org. But you guys know how to connect me. You guys have me on sale, social media, email, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. I check it all. So hit me up, because I definitely want to get y'all out here, and I'm always open anytime to have one-on-one. I'm not on TikTok. That one I can't do. I don't have the tick or the talk. But I see them shared on Facebook and Instagram. Yeah, I lost my train of thought, but oh, anytime you want to chat one-on-ones, I love having those moments with y'all as well. I love it when people say, hey, I want to have a meeting, and then we just like catch up. Like, it's a beautiful thing. So always open to doing that. But I will respect your time and go ahead and end this session. Let folks know how excellent it was, and we will get this edited and put on the Charlie Mike channel. I will let y'all know when it's posted. And how do I get some of that cool alumni swag you're sending out? So, hey, the alumni swag. So I do a big, for those that have caught on at this point, I started summer of 2019, but at the end of the year, I do a huge thank you campaign. And so you never know what you're going to get, but I always send some type of gratitude to alum that host workshops, speak on panels, just volunteer in an additional way in support of the alumni network. So that's how you earn it. That's how you earn that cool alumni swag. So hit your girl up so you can go ahead and host one of these workshops. Y'all have a good night, and I will see y'all soon.
All right, thank y'all. Take care.
Hey, you're welcome. Take care.